And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We have something special. We have a treat. Typically, we weren't going to cover any more of round 4, but we have an ace match. We have an ace match between these two amazing players. Drogo and Mixu have been duking it out while we were covering Gabe versus Holy Hit, and they're tied up 1-1. They're going all the way to game 3. It all ends here. It all ends on Oceanborn. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our red Protoss player from land of France representing his old team Alter. It is PtitDrogo. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. Yeah, we missed out on game 1 and game 2. If you would like to tune in, or if you'd like to check out some of the VODs, I believe Funka, it was covered in French. I believe Funka has been following Drogo throughout the course of his matches. So every single Drogo match, I believe, was casted by Funka. Likewise, I believe Indy was following Elaser and casting all of his matches, whether they were on the mainstream or not. Indy was following Elaser and Funka was following Drogo. So do love to see it. Those VODs, I'm sure, are going to be available on his channel. I believe on Comeback TV. So now we are settling in. Mixu going for a hatch first. It's going to be hatch gas pull out of Mixu, standard opener. Forced to take the unnatural natural, but a standard opener nonetheless. Meanwhile, Drogo across the map going for a gate expand. Bearing in mind that Drogo started the night off by bringing down a laser in the ace match. Now, I missed the games myself. They occurred over on the main stream while we were covering our first series, so I wasn't able to quite cover or get much of what was going on there. I did hear that Drogo was talking about the match afterwards in an interview. He was referring to how he was able to kind of like settle into Sky. He got ahead and he was able to just settle into Sky Toss and close things out from there. Was a longer macro game between Drogo and Elaser, where Drogo was able to come out on top. Elaser, I believe, was stuck on Hydra Lurker Viper, and not the best kind of composition of Hydra, or yeah, not the best kind of setup of Hydra Lurker Viper either. And Drogo was able to take it from there. And we'll see if we can embrace that kind of late game Sky Toss, or if things end a little bit earlier, if we're a little bit more aggressive. We'll keep our eyes out. We'll keep our eyes out here. Eyes peeled, eyes open for any earlier attack. It's going to be a Stargate opener out of Drogo. Everything looking standard for the time being. Based on what I heard from Drogo and the laser, I assume that it is going to be a standard opener. We're not going to deviate too much, but we'll see. Mixu is saturating his bases, working towards link speed. Third hatchery is on the way. And we're still waiting for our first unit of choice. 2 links do slip in though. We get 1. 1 probe goes down. Can we get a second? Oh, not quite, not yet. There we go. Second probe falls. At the same time, Adepts, they do shade in across the map. They threaten the mineral line, but we have Queens to defend, and we will zone that Adept away. Adept is forced back. I believe the link in the main base to get a scout of the tech. We have eyes on the Stargate. And it's going to be an Oracle opener. Oracle first by Drogo. Mixu is aware. Mixu should soon be looking to build up our queens, go for our spores, and build up. It's going to be 2 queens in the main, 2 queens at the natural. We are ready. We are secure. We'll see what Drogo goes from here. See, Mixu trying to get eyes on the would-be third. Is going to be zoned away. It's going to be shut down. First Oracle's moving out. We have a second behind this. And we'll see if we go for a third or if we go for some faster attack. Oracle heads for the third base. We do manage to catch a couple of drones. 3 drones go down. Not bad. 3 workers do fall. Third base is now being taken. A second Oracle does spawn in, and there it is. We have a third Oracle on the horizon. Drogo is doubling down on this. Getting into what looks to be a normal standard game. Oracles, they keep your third base safe from ling run-bys. They harass across the map. They scout, and they allow you to take up into a Forge and a Twilight Council. Oracles do go for a bit of a flyby. We take a lot of hits. But the Oracles, they barely do escape. 2 more drones go down. Oracle backs off, races back home. The other does hit the natural. No spores in position. We get 4 drones in, but we bleed out the Oracle. The Oracle falls. Still a decent trade in Oracle for 7 drones, but ideally we did want to keep it alive. We did want to preserve it. So a rough loss for Drogo. We could have gained so much more value out of that Oracle. And now Drogo back at home is taking up. And Twilight Council, Forge, Robo, additional gateways. Should be working towards Blink, but we'll keep an eye on Drogo. Meanwhile, Mixu back at home, throwing down his own Roach Warren at around the 5-minute or 4:40-ish mark. Is building up towards Roaches. Once again, still no support. The natural. Get another drone. Oh. And almost another. There we go. 2 drones go down. A 3rd drone goes down. Very crisp control there out of Drogo. Very close. Almost does bleed out another Oracle, but we do manage to escape. We do get away. And I was curious. I was curious as to the follow-up, especially with the faster Robo. We're going into not Blink, Charge. Charge and +1 on the way. Templar Archives for Archon production as well. It's going to be Charge or Archon out of Drogo. No Immortals, not yet. It's a very solid, very beefy composition here. We'll see if Drogo can make use of this charge timing. Oh boy. We shall see. We saw Trigger playing similarly earlier. I say similarly on this map. Trigger did go for a much faster Twilight Council, rushing into charge and going for an all-in. This isn't quite the same build out of Drogo. He's building up and saturating on 3 bases. Immortals are on the way, additional gateways as well. We're setting up for a longer game. And here comes the Archon drop. It is a delayed Archon drop, not the same as, or a little bit later compared to, for example, a Dark Shrine opener. So a later Archon drop, but we can still hunt down Overlords, we can threaten mineral lines, can get damage done. Meanwhile, Mixu going for Swarm Host, let's go! Against charge on composition, Swarm Hosts do quite well.
Swarm forces.
And I'm impressed that Mixu was able to get a read on this. I'm curious if we did spot the army earlier, and even then, it would have been hard to deduce. Unless Drogo has been playing this style all day. Possible. We missed out on game 1 and game 2. Yeah, Swarm Hosts have arrived. For those curious, the reason why Swarm Hosts do well against Charge or Archon is because there are no Blink Stalkers or really any Sky Toss. The army of Drogo is a little bit less mobile, which means it's harder to punish the Swarm Host. Harder to punish and harder to counterattack as well. Here we go, the first wave of Swarm Hosts are on the way. We're headed for the natural. We could even dive on the Robo. What do we go for? The Robo or the Nexus? You have to make a choice. Archon job still being active. Roaches are keeping up. And here it comes! The Locust Wave into the natural. Do we go for the production or do we go for the economy? And we go for some units. There we go. We're going for the Nexus. Nexus is under fire. The Nexus will go down. Just too much DPS. The natural falls. A solid start for Mixu. At the same time, Roach counterattack catches Zealots. The job was shut down. Wait, did we? The Prism was killed. The War Prism went down. Drogo a little bit distracted, as were we. But the Prism did go down to the Queens. It's a big loss. That's 2 Archons. And that Locust Wave is about to reset. And the question becomes, do we go for the army or do we go for another base? Looks like we're going for the army. Stasis Trap is up. A massive connection. Massive stasis here on the army. Locust, they do dive on top of the Protoss. They're cleaned up. A couple of storms were wasted from Drogo, as storms connected with the stasis army, which unfortunately has no effect. See Mixu rotating around, still has potential. Yeah, he's just going for the 4th. Going for the 4th base, turning back around and catching Archons. Even the Queens have arrived. The splits, Papi! Oh my god! We avoid the storm. And Mixu just stoning Drogo away. The 4th base is going to go down. Now we have another Locust Wave. Here comes wave number 3. It's almost overextending for a moment, but we catch another Archon. We're running out of storms. Overcharge is popped, but we barely have an army. Oh my god, the storms are brutal. We stand in the storms. Extra damage is dealt. The Roach army is crumbling, but hey, we catch Immortals. We do catch 2 Immortals. They both fall. With the reinforcing Zealots, it looks like Mixu has to back up, but at the same time, we're in the mineral line. 23 probes go down, and that's a kill on the 4th. Drogo has almost nothing left. Across the map, going for a Desperation Zealot counterattack. We can afford to lose a hatchery. And there's no guarantee that we will. No more transfuse. Oh, we have one more. Not quite. The base does go down. Not a bad Zealot run by, but here comes wave number 4 of the Locust Wave. And now there is no Storm, no High Templar, no Immortals. We're going for the Archons. They're taking a lot of hits. And Mixu, he's snowballing out of control. GG gets called. Mixu will take the series 2-1. We'll take down PtitDrogo. GG. GG, well played. Oh, that was, again, a wild game. Drogo embracing Charge the Archon. Mixu identifying that quite early on. Again, I'm curious if Drogo played this same style in the last 2 games. Curious if that's the case and if Mixu did adapt over time. But again, Swarm Hosts, they have their place in ZVP specifically against this composition. You saw that Locust Wave after Locust Wave did connect, and we just weren't able to punish the Swarm Hosts. Every time they were able to escape, able to get away, and get ready for another wave. Likewise, the Archon drop did fall on its face. We didn't see it ourselves, but we saw the units lost tab as the Locust Wave was getting across the map. The Prism went down, the Archons went down. With the help of the Prism, that's a way to try to punish this. Like, for example, if the Prism was kept safe and came back home, then we can, you know, load in some Immortals, load in some Archons, and try to chase down the Swarm Host, try to punish the army in some way. Alas, we couldn't, and GG, congratulations, Mixu takes it. Does take the series, and with that, that wraps up round 4.